much does it cost in today's age to actually get married? Kita bersama dengan seorang yang bakal berkahwin. Rachel, berapa kau spending?
The first thing yang aku book was the venue, makan dengan decor. Itu satu package tau. That one is about 40k.
40k? Bridal tak include?
Tak include lah. So bridal, photography, berkat.
So all in all, berapa yang bakal dihabiskan?
Sekarang dah about 50.
Dan ni tak termasuk tulang hantaran. Hantaran tak termasuk If I were to just put in the perbelanjaan together as a ballpark, so 50k would be dua side lah kan, combine. Then kalau tambah hantaran, let's say 15k lah on top of that. 50k, that's 65k punya spending, and then plus dulang-dulang 70k. That's crazy man, for a wedding. So we're talking for a couple yang dah nak mulakan kehidupan baru. They are burning through their savings of about 70k already. Some of them are taking loans. Di kalangan mereka yang lebih muda, loan taking is on the rise, debt is on the rise. We're talking about 20 to 30% as compared to the previous generation. It's crazy.
Aku punya klien semua banyak at the age of 24, 25 pun dah hutang dah 40-50,000. Betul, serius. Aku just posted on aku punya Facebook. Aku cakap yang kalau kau tak tahu buat duit, paling pun tahulah jaga duit. Klien aku, bro, gaji 26,000 pun hutang, gaji 16,000 pun hutang, ada yang gaji 3,000 tak ada hutang.
Right.
Faham tak? So at the end of the day, kau punya habit and kau punya emotion towards this money ni,
a lot of young people don't see the value in getting married anymore. And even if they are married, they don't see the value of getting children, because children is expensive. They are concentrating on quality of life. They want to escape this whole idea of an 8 to 5, 9 to 5. In starting a family, you need to have a certain habit, which is your financial prudentness, living below your means. That's so underrated. It feels like macam you're not giving yourself the value that you deserve.
Again, value you deserve also need to be measured.
You're right.
Because memang betul, orang cakap kau save, you will lack in your quality of life. Tapi if you want to get something that you deserve, kena measurable juga dengan apa yang kau deserve.
Assalamualaikum sahabat-sahabat. Bagi mereka yang menyaksikan meme, terima kasih kerana sudah disaksikan. Jangan lupa untuk tekan butang subscribe untuk mengikuti segala updates, dan kita membincangkan isu-isu bersangkut paut dengan isu sosial lah. Kemelayuan dan isu sosial kita. Banyak isu-isu sosial yang kita bincangkan. Dan benda ni tak habis. Takkan habis. Tapi apa yang pasti dah habis adalah aku dah mula binge lah.
Duit
tak, makan sebarang. Dah makan sebarang. Dalam 2 minggu aku naik 5 kilo tau. Cepat gila.
Tapi nampak
kan?
Boleh nampak.
Ini sebab air, banyak air. So bila kita makan excess sugar, apa processed carbs and all that. So dulu kau tahu aku selalu banyak kencing. Low body fat, sekejap-kejap kena kencing. Sebab body aku tak dapat tahan air tu. So dengan ada karbohidrat kat dalam, dia hold lebih banyak air. So dia tangkap sini semua, whatever kind of thing.
Gitu
faham. So nasi kalau kau makan, dia akan hold water tau. Jadi kau kena, I need to flush this out sebab ada sodium, penambahan sodium yang tinggi, MSG apa semua. So kira badan aku tengah macam sponge lah. So really kalau aku nak purge it all out within 7 to 10 days, I need to start eating clean balik. Bagi tahu aku punya body yang clean water is coming in. You know, we're eating good food, and dia tak bloating sangat.
Tapi aku suka badan macam gini. Aku lagi suka badan
macam kembang-kembang air lah.
Betul.
Deadboard lah.
Macam kira ada size lah kira.
Aku pun prefer gitu.
Actually
aku tak suka sangat lah.
Malah banyak perempuan suka lelaki yang lebih ada size tau.
Tapi aku tak mencari banyak perempuan.
Mencari satu.
Aku nak cutting. Aku suka cutting. Cutting kira lebih bersih, lebih tajam kan. Features lebih tajam. Dan dalam 2 minggu aku makan banyak gula. Sebenarnya as a 40-year-old man, dia banyak affect quality of skin kita. Kan dulu kan macam nampak ketat, and then macam nampak very bright, younger skin.
Skincare kau masih retain tak?
Skincare aku off sikit lah. Itu masalah dia.
Kau kena konsisten juga.
Malas.
Sebab dah makin malas. Malas. So that's something that I'm trying to, kira I'm learning a lot dalam these 2 weeks. Salah gila babi. Aku off for 2 weeks, terus badan aku dah gila babi lah. So we're trying to go back into some kind of rhythm balik. Sampailah ke 1st of November where I'll be flying off. Itu dah susah nak jaga lagi lah.
Tapi ni kau masih pergi gym juga?
Masih pergi gym. Tetap pergi. Dan kita nak jaga makan balik dan jaga air kita balik lah. Jaga air. So all the best to myself. Dan bagi mereka yang nak mencuba, boleh saja ikuti aku di Instagram. I update a lot of my shit berkenaan my fitness regime over there. In 40 years old, these are things you should quit. Number one, quit alcohol lah.
Itu siang-siang dah kena quit.
Itu siang-siang kena quit. If you're still doing it, I mean, aku bukan di sini untuk cakap dosa ke apa, whatever. Ni untuk itu terserah pada korang.
Kesihatan juga.
But it's just empty calories. Dan dia melambatkan sistem penghadapan kau. It's just poison lah. Just stop. Susah kau nak burn off that shit. Number two, have enough sleep. Sleep is very important. Tak ada cortisol naik. Stress pun akan jadi masalah dengan kita. It shows very easily. Nanti lines dah start keluar.
Wrinkles ni semua.
Semua dah start keluar. Big, the double chin. Stress. So kena relax. Dan apa yang akan membawa stres adalah perkahwinan. Perkahwinan membawa stres.
Dan juga kalau kau tengok bank kau tak ada duit.
Financial difficulties, stress. Anak-anak boleh menyumbangkan daripada stress. Marriage is a one whole ball of stress. Seperti mana aku tahu hari ni kita berbual berkenaan dengan how much does it cost in today's age to actually get married. Kita bersama dengan seorang yang bakal berkahwin, Rachel. And
congratulations.
Very interesting dia share pasal macam mid-range berapa. Sebab backstory aku adalah tanya dia beberapa bulan lepas, berapa kahwin berapa kau spend dapat apa macam mana tanya je. Betul. Kan nak save duit, menabung, mana tahu kita pun tak tahu kan, tak tahu jodoh. Sebab kita dah lahirkan kan, dah settle kan,
dah tertulis dekat
apa
yalah
ajal dah ada, jodoh apa semua kan.
Apa tu yang tertulis Lauh Mahfuz
Lauh Mahfuz tu Al-Quran ada dalam Lauh Mahfuz.
Yang tertulis semualah
something lah. So dia berapa kau spending?
Okay, so the breakdown is, the first thing yang aku book was the venue, makan dengan decor. Itu satu package So that one is about 40k.
40k? Berapa orang?
Untuk 500 packs.
500 packs 40k. Makan lamin semua dapat?
Dengan venue lah.
Venue? Dan bridal tak include?
Tak include lah. So bridal, fotografi, berkat, apa lagi?
Lupa pula pasal berkat.
Tu semua belum lah.
Maknanya DJ kau mahal tak nanti?
DJ
sponsor. DJ dah tentu sponsor.
Dia belum masuk DJ. Kalau betul-betul DJ harga
tak pun. Yalah.
So kau punya dulang, bridal, fotografi, macam DJ, your henna. Kalau aku henna, wedding cake, card.
Wedding cake.
So habis ada orang macam nak siri dara lah, bunga paha.
Habis apa yang pegang kat tangan tu apa? Bunga tu? Is it?
Apa, bunga rampai?
Perempuan selalu pegang bunga.
Itu your bouquet.
Tu costing juga
Costing show tu.
Ada banyak benda. Habis kalau kau nak bayarkan your groomsman dengan bridesmaidnya baju,
kau buat?
Aku suruh diorang buat baju sendiri lah. Tapi aku ada colour lah.
I see. So all in all, berapa yang bakal dihabiskan?
Kereta lagi? Kereta? Wedding car pakai car sekarang je lah.
Yalah, dah Mercedes apa.
InsyaAllah.
So berapa dalam ballpark?
So sekarang dah about 50.
About 50. Dan ni tak termasuk dulang hantaran. Hantaran tak termasuk
Tak. Tu lelaki.
No, I mean if I were to just put in the perbelanjaan together as a ballpark, so 50k would be dua side lah kan, combine. Then kalau tambah hantaran, let's say tak payah tanya nanti, let's say 15k lah on top of that 50k, that's 65k punya spending. And then plus dulang-dulang, you want certain things, 5 dulang sini, 5 dulang sini, campur.
Betul.
That would come to about a good 70k 70k. That's crazy, man. For a wedding. And this mid-range
Okay lah, maybe a bit on the higher side. Pasal aku punya venue quite is a hotel apa. Tapi pada aku tengok macam, aku compare, I did my research right. Some of the ballroom macam yang dekat, apa kalau macam yang Bedok ni semua apa?
Dekat Home Team NS kan
Home Team NS ni semua about the same price tau. About macam, aku tadi book 40 kan. So dia about 38, 37.
Tak jauh lah.
Tak jauh. So might as well aku just take the hotel.
Asal sekarang aku jarang nampak orang buat bawah blok lagi
Betul. Aku pasal memang dari dulu aku tak nak. Pasal panas.
Macam dah jarang aku nampak.
Aku recent ones that I go to memang bawah blok.
Bawah blok
Bawah blok. But at the end of the day, actually dia punya costing you come to about the same.
Yeah, about the same or slightly lesser lah.
Sebab makanan kau dah tak boleh dapat that amount yang dulu tau.
Betul.
Like per head you can charge like $13, $12. You cannot get that already.
Sekarang makanan about 20 plus to 30 plus per head.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yes.
And it's it's like the food cost punya issue that CNA cover how restaurants are closing because food prices are increasing, bahan mentah increase, rental increase. So they're playing to that amount.
Tapi makanan sama ke macam dulu ke lain?
Sama lah.
Aku rasa about the same lah.
Yeah. Cuma that's the price that we're talking lah. So we're talking for a couple yang dah nak mulakan kehidupan baru. They are burning through their savings of about 70k already. Ni belum lagi kalau ada savings.
Kalau tak ada.
So that's what I heard. Macam a lot of the younger folk, some of them are taking loans.
Yes.
To do this. Some of them ada some monetary punya contribution daripada mak bapak dorang.
Family. Even some vendors, they do take macam Atomy payment and all that.
Serious lah.
So bila aku pergi expo, habis dorang macam, kita provide Atomy tau. Aku macam, is it? Macam, like pada aku, it helps. It maybe helps. Tapi aku tak ada Atomy lah. So aku tak.
Installment lah?
Installment. Tapi memang kita installment apa. Cuma is macam, kau tetap kena bayar cash every few months mah. To these vendors, right? But this one, dorang just macam, okay, kau just bayar through Atomy lah.
So macam aku, tadi kau ada cakap yang kau tak ambil loan. Kau sebenarnya save duit ni semua sejak umur kau 15.
Ya, betul.
Sekarang kau dah 3?
Aku 30.
Selama 15 tahun, you save that money.
Yeah. So aku like for me, aku dari kecil like kita tak hidup senang ber. So my parents taught me how to save money, how to macam jaga duit. So bila aku start kerja when I was 15, aku start saving sikit-sikit lah. So then from there I have the money, like I pay macam my parents, every month aku kasi duit kat dorang aku. And then this money is for wedding.
Right.
Then macam kereta ni semua ni semua duit
so
saving.
So actually kau save memang kau plan pun ni untuk kahwin lah macam gitu.
Memang sama ada.
Kau jumpa pasangan kau time umur berapa?
28.
Oh 28. Untung show dia. Kira dia jumpa kau terus kau ada saving kan?
He's also someone who has savings kan. He's someone who's quite prudent in his spending. So but her in a sense cara dia save duit tu sebenarnya for her age group tak ramai buat macam tu. I was watching how Gen Z spendings and young millennial punya spendings in today's day and age. In the keadaan yang mana dia doom scrolling and dalam keadaan ekosistem yang it's easier to take a loan versus actually paying for cash and then you pay via credit system whatever. So this whole ecosystem that has been built is for the ease of spending.
Yes.
And sebenarnya di kalangan mereka yang lebih muda, loan taking is on the rise, debt is on the rise.
Definitely.
We're talking about 20 to 30% as compared to the previous generation. It's crazy. And you wouldn't know this, but kau in this line.
Yes, aku punya klien semua banyak. At the age of 24, 25 pun dah hutang dah 40-50,000. Betul, serius.
Bila kau cakap macam when you're young, you're taught to go through a certain kind of grit, perseverance. Macam you long-term gratification. Okay, kita tak makan ni. Makan KFC pun kira macam a luxury, a reward. This whole system of like tahan sekejap untuk reward, it doesn't really exist di kalangan mereka yang muda tau. Because they want the instant dopamine, instant reward. So it comes with macam kalau mana aku boleh sengat, aku sengat dulu, aku bayar dulu, whatever. Which was very interesting because I was going through my doom scroll dekat TikTok, and then I saw some younger Singaporeans sharing about things like how everything's expensive here. They don't feel like being Singaporean anymore. Dia cakap I want to live in another country sebab because kalau aku tinggal sini duit tak cukup, aku gaji bulan-bulan kena bayar rumah, kena duit. And then after that dia rasa macam this rat race thing has got to stop. But the moment aku scroll the next content yang in a sense this user ada, dia beli barang-barang dekat bazar, beli makanan-makanan yang mahal, whatever kind of thing, and then post as like as a reel of sorts. So I'm thinking, okay, the issue is not with kau punya earnings, the issue is kau punya habits.
Habits.
Dan I'm not blaming this person or whatever, but it shows a lot dalam keadaan orang muda yang Ataupun cakap orang muda, orang kita pun ada yang begitu kan, like they want to be spending.
Ada. Aku actually takut tau, like to live paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
Like because I cannot guarantee macam this month aku kerja, next month aku tak kerja. Tak boleh cakap apa. So macam aku tengok orang yang macam boleh buat gitu habis nanti pinjam 50, pinjam 20.
Betul.
Itu aku takut saya untuk dorang. Macam korang tak ada backup plan.
Semalam aku just posted on aku punya Facebook. Aku cakap yang kalau kau tak tahu buat duit, paling pun tahulah jaga duit. Pasal kalau kau sekadar kalau kau tak tahu jaga duit, satu hari kalau kau happen to be a millionaire pun, kau akan jatuh.
It's true.
Betul. Because aku punya macam klien aku, bro, gaji 26,000 pun hutang.
Per month.
Gaji 16,000 pun hutang. Ada yang gaji 3,000 tak ada hutang.
Right.
Faham tak? So at the end of the day, it's how kau punya habit and kau punya emotion towards this money ni. How, macam mana kau jaga duit ni. Itu yang buat. So hutang ni tak kenal gaji lah kira kan sebenarnya kau.
So kita kalau tarik balik kepada topik berkenaan dengan perkahwinan pada zaman masa kini yang boleh sampai 70k, and this is like normal wedding. Like how do people your age group grapple with this? They are okay with this ataupun diorang pun sebenarnya tengah sesak, and then lepas tu tak beli rumah lagi, ada renovation. How
I feel like weddings now are getting smaller lah. So 500 packs kira untuk aku is besar already. Like
serious lah.
Banyak sekarang orang macam 300 packs, 200 packs gitu.
And how much would it cost? Like 20,
that one I think about 20 to 30 lah.
Okay. They're reducing
reducing the
size.
Packs. So ada yang macam harapkan, okay kita spend ni, harapkan duit salam.
Aku heard. Tu boleh gaduh juga. Kau harapkan duit salam ke tak?
Pasal aku
Kau harapkan duit salam ke?
Tak. Itu macam okay lah, maybe boleh grow back sikit. Tapi aku okay lah.
Duit salam pun kalau nak mengaut keuntungan pun ada structure juga. Sebab macam aku pernah nampak aku pun tak cakap apa lah kan, pernah diundang tengok keluarga, okay, duit salam kira diorang pecah 50-50. Kira ada satu tabung pecah 50-50. Tapi akan jadi isu.
Betul.
Sebab yang perempuan invite cuma berapa orang aja. Yang ramai daripada saudara mara lelaki, dia fill up the whole table datang. So salam orang kasar-kasar.
Betul.
Habis split 50-50.
Betul. Ni normal.
Tapi
ni
mungkin suami isteri okay. Yang akan buat
family,
mak bapak dia macam mana saudara kita ramai, macam mana kau split macam ni. And those are the first few problems that they all have to face. Betul. And I've done weddings for close to 18 years already. Dan apa aku nampak actually, kalau nak buat combine, so much headache dan so much pergaduhan yang bakal berlaku. Orang sampai kena buat 2 different entrance. And then where you house your mak bapak pengantin lagi kat sini, mak bapak pengantin pun kat sini, they have their own separate collection of duit salam. And then even so, you have to agree beforehand. Ada kalanya duit salam ni pergi dekat siapa?
Betul.
Is it couple simpan? Ataupun is it 100% pergi ke mak bapak? Atau mak bapak pegang dulu and mak bapak decide berapa nak kasih?
Betul.
Sebab and then this goes on top of the question, bila hantaran kasih dekat the bride, is it 100% minit the bride ataupun sebahagian pergi ke mak bapak ataupun fully go to the mak bapak?
Betul.
And then mak bapak akan decide, okay, this a bit for you, my daughter, whatever. It's just so...
Kadang-kadang hantaran pun isu.
Isu.
Hantaran siapa yang simpan? The bride atau the parents? Kalau parents, okay, this is the amount we're gonna give. Kalau bride, kita kasih lebih sikit. Itu pun macam
actually, the problem yang menambahkan problem sebenarnya orang-orang luar ni.
Actually, you're right.
Betul. I mean, husband and wife, partner ni, diorang aja berbual pun mungkin ada problem. Apa lagi kau kaitkan orang-orang kat belakang lagi. Dah makin problem. Ada sampai, because of this wedding, nanti mak bapak sebelah kiri dengan mak bapak sebelah kanan dah mula tak best lah. Tak syok lah. Tapi wedding still go on. Tapi macam ada that tak gerik punya feeling lah.
And of course, there will be macam narrative saying that macam, kan lebih baik jangan buat this event besar-besar. Buat kecil je sudah, save money. As much as the bride and groom will say, they might be okay with that. Nanti yang tak okay mak bapak diorang lah. Betul. Yang tak okay macam saudara mara, asal buat kecil What is this? Ada. Because Melayu punya community is always face first. It's always macam jaga muka, jaga aib keluarga. Takut apa orang cakap, nanti apa orang cakap.
Ini je lah selalu. This is the normal way ni.
And to divorce that whole idea of like jangan kisah sangat apa orang cakap, it is so difficult.
Tak senang
because dia akan because the problem with us, setiap tahun ada hari raya.
Betul.
Kena jumpa, kena salam, and then nangis. Habis ambil gambar ramai-ramai. Kami daripada keluarga apa hari raya. Habis nanti cakap ni yang tu hantaran berapa je. Kau tahu
dia kan ada degree ni semua.
Dia kahwin kat masjid. Dia kahwin kat masjid dia. Dia tak buat besar-besar. Apa pasal dia kahwin kat masjid je? Apa pasal?
Kenapa nak cepat-cepat kahwin?
Kenapa?
Je.
Antara asal 5,000. Kenapa 5,000?
Kenapa 5,000? Ni something ni mesti ada sudah ditebuk tupai. Some shit lah.
This is what happening behind.
Yeah. And to live with that shame. To live with that shame, knowing that people are talking behind your back. Some people cannot be at peace with it, especially the older folk. They want peace macam, aku dah tak tahan lagi. Kata-kata dia saudara mara. Mak kena lalui tumahan daripada saudara mara. Kau tak pandang mak ke?
Selalu.
Then
parents gitu
Then you play the parents card. So
macam mana kalau gitu?
The problem is narcissist. I mean, this is culture. It's like so much of our culture is bent on saving face, saving grace. Face is everything. Susah tak apa, orang tak tahu tak apa, asalkan our face is everything.
Okay, bila kau cakap face is everything, ini Islam ke bukan?
Ini budaya.
Ini budaya
ini maruah.
This is not agama.
Ini maruah. Bukan lah.
Kan?
Of course not lah.
Because kat Arab pun aku rasa pun ada juga yang buat.
Arab pun ada buat face, save face. Dia mahar dia tinggi. Dia kena buat.
Arab lagi
Arab lagi extravagant. So a lot of the budaya come into play. And in fact, the whole marriage punya performance is a budaya thing. It is a whole budaya thing. Your bridal, jamu ramai-ramai, whatever kind of thing. And then the duit salam. These are all budaya. It's not in
Kalau kau macam mana nanti?
Kalau aku, of course I'm trying to.
Kau buat besaran ke, kecil ke, macam mana?
I'm in two minds with this. Because you know, kalau selalunya seorang duda, ataupun seorang janda, diorang nak berkahwin lagi. Normally they make small. They make it small. And then, but provided kau juga kahwin dengan seorang yang mungkin duda ataupun janda kan. Normally itu lebih senang. That's what I see. That's easier to negotiate.
Kalau macam kau cari duda janda ke?
Kalau let's say you kahwin with like someone like a first timer tak pernah berkahwin. As much as sometimes they might say, okay, small is okay. But you sense like you want something special. You want like a and then
first time
apa dia pun nak merasa.
Betul.
So these are things that I would think macam okay, how do we make this happen lah. Tapi taklah sampai macam extravagant 150,000
Yalah.
house or Reno punya like, because at the end of the day to even come to 70k to part with that, duit so hard to find. Betul. And then plus and that itu duit terbuang tau. It's like you don't even get it back. You're giving it away. You're burning it to give people yang jarang tanya khabar pasal kau makan.
Aku just fikir sedekah je lah.
Fikir sedekah. Tapi 70,000 kalau kau kasih sedekah kepada anak-anak pesantren and then diorang datang, diorang mengaji, lagi kau akan rally macam gila bisa.
I'm killing two birds with one stone lah. Pasal like aku dah tie in dengan this donation punya tu, dan aku will have people to scan QR codes to donate during my wedding lah. So aku fikir macam okay, then my this wedding aku buat something like not me just wasting money but also macam fundraising jugalah.
But I feel in the future generations this thing will not slow down. Sebab these things dia akan makin mahal. Nanti anak-anak kita akan berkahwin, then it comes to the same problem. It will be even more expensive.
Jadi ini dia daripada pernikahan kan, kebanyakan aku tak tahu sekarang yang kau cakap ada Tommy, ada orang sampai ambil loan. Lepas diorang nikah, diorang dah jadi sah suami isteri, lepas tu nak beli rumah. Lepas beli rumah nak renovate rumah. Renovate rumah nak beli barang-barang. Nak beli barang-barang lepas tu dapat anak. Lepas tu dapat anak. This is kirakan continuous punya amount.
Yeah, so it's no surprise if you were to really look at keadaan kita di Singapura. I don't know about other countries but a lot of young people don't see the value in getting married anymore. And even if they are married, they don't see the value of getting children because children is expensive. So they would rather keep a pet. So they call macam fur fathers or fur daddies or whatever kind of thing. So it's much cheaper. They are concentrating on quality of life. They want to escape this whole idea of an 8 to 5, 9 to 5. Like I want to be spending more time for myself, quality of life. Which could also be detrimental, which means kalau more people start thinking like that, like it's very individualistic punya thinking. Like because everything's expensive, you know, you shouldn't judge me if I don't want to start a family. But the family is the unit building block of the country.
Correct.
So when this happens, community TFR go low. So you have situation sama macam South Korea, Japan, where the TFR is below 0.9.
TFR ni apa?
Total fertility rate.
Oh, okay.
So they're not reproducing. Like every couple yang kahwin, they either have satu anak ataupun tak ada anak. So they are not reproducing. So what happens is that South Korea is in danger. In a few years time, dorang punya in terms of population akan crash, bro. So we're talking about singles. There's this epidemic of loneliness. People are killing themselves, suicidal, because they actually humans we are built to interact now. That's how our biological punya function. We are built to interact. Bila kita interact, kita ada kawan, ada dopamine release, kita feel happy, better quality of life. That's why antara cure to depression is actually build networks of friends. If lagi kau menyendiri, kau akan fall sleep into deeper recess of depression and it can be suicidal, whatever. This is the issue.
Okay, that's the bigger picture.
Yeah, that's the bigger picture. So how do governments remedy this? For Japan, diorang very exclusive. Diorang Japanese for Japanese. So even if immigrants masuk, they don't want to stay because kau akan kena ostracize because they don't look at you as Japanese. Tell you to fuck off. Kind of shit. So many expats or people who want to be Japanese, they end up leaving because it's not a good place. But for South Korea, sama juga. It's that. Tapi kalau kat Singapore, we are very immigrant friendly. Tapi immigrant friendly pula, kita tak ambil any kind of immigrant untuk masuk. Kau like recently Minister Shanmugam cakap, if you must bring something to the table for Singapore, baru kita ambil kau masuk. So there is like apa net worth kau, apa kau boleh bawa kat sini. Susah nak jadi. Tapi kita boleh buat kau citizen kalau kau boleh kasih kita keuntungan.
Yalah, of course lah.
And you see other countries having swath of immigrants coming in. You talk about France, UK, and it has become a shit show. Like those colonial powers dah nampak macam basically kadang-kadang dah macam sial lah, bro. Sebab
tu baby bonus makin tinggi sekarang.
But really is the baby bonus enough untuk start a family? It's expensive, bro. It's expensive.
Sebab tu Islam ni dia cakap apa, anak ni rezeki, kira dia gila. Sebab tu Arab ni makan rasa makin lama makin banyak. Mungkin lah. Tak tahu mungkin.
Wallahualam but Singapore is very expensive place to live in. There's a lot of problems. As much as we are looked upon as a very country yang kaya, tapi ramai orang juga dalam keadaan yang sengsara. Not only that, macam you're talking about restaurants that are closing, rentals that are high. Aku baru tengok this particular there's this agent, lady agent. Dia fight lah pula. Dia cakap macam, okay, kau cakap landlord semua tamak increase dia punya rental. Tapi tahukah kau actually the landlords are facing the same shit as what the tenants are facing.
Apa tu?
Because diorang no, maksudnya when they own macam property places, they are also taking loans from banks. So banks pun ada refinancing, ada macam dia percentage increase. So
betul juga.
So let's say diorang dah ambil macam a whole building several millions, diorang kena bayar juga bulan-bulan macam tu. Kalau diorang tak increase, diorang pun kena makan juga from the bank. So banks yang increasing all this shit. So
this is another from a point of view
another point of view. Aku tengok betul juga ni. Sebab landlord pun ambil loan juga, and their loans is in the range of millions. So kalau ada certain percentage increase like 0.5% ke 1% increase, diorang punya increase diorang nak kena bayar bulan-bulan rabak, bro.
Banyak.
So
bank yang buat duit.
So bila diorang nak collect balik daripada rental, diorang to say rental naik 20%, naik 30%, just to cover apa yang bank dah start increase.
So bank naik kan?
And not only that, kalau let's say tenant tak boleh bayar, diorang keluar, okay kita nak cari tenant. So let's say 3 bulan 4 bulan tak ada tenant masuk. So kau rugi apa? Kau rugi. So let's say tenant dah start masuk. So what happens? Tenant tu punya rental akan naik to cover for the month's loss yang tak ada tenant masuk. So that's the shit.
So ini daripada pemandangan landlord. Pasal bank yang naikkan percentage. Dari pemandangan bank pula
aku tak tahu. Kita tak tahu.
Must be the economy around the world.
I mean,
kata tak?
Soalannya sekarang, who owns the banks? Siapa? Kuasa mana? Keluarga mana own the banks?
Makin bawah kau makin teruk lah.
Yalah betul.
Sebab aku tengok a lot of like the businesses, diorang blame the landlords. Mereka cakap food price dah increase, kita tak cukup duit untuk buy manpower. We're talking about macam those restaurants like 15 years in business, 18 years in business, closing down sebab dah tak boleh. Dah sesak tak boleh sah. Then they are heavily in debt. Aku cakap kiwak gila babi sah. So this is something that
ni semua dunia.
Yeah, I mean that's the conclusion. Tapi this presents a very important lesson for all of us. In starting a family, you need to have a certain habit, which is your financial prudentness. Living below your means. That's so underrated. Not many people want to do that.
Betul.
Living below your means. Sebab to them, kalau live below your means, it feels like macam you're not giving yourself the value that you deserve.
Yes. Yeah, but again, value you deserve also need to be a measured one.
Yeah, you're right.
Because memang betul, orang cakap kau save, you will lack in your quality of life. Tapi if you want to get something that you deserve, nak kena measurable juga dengan apa yang kau deserve.
So nantilah. So all the best untuk kau yang akan berkahwin. Nanti tunggu aku nak kahwin pula. Aku nak save. And you see how this goes.
Kau sponsor
dah ada sponsor, minta sponsor lah.
Tak lah, mana boleh macam tu.
Tak boleh.
Tak boleh lah.
Jadi tak nampak sangat.
Sponsor. Aku tak pernah terfikir kahwin sponsor ni.
Tapi Alhamdulillah akunya ada macam pasha-pasha sikit lah.
Tak nak. Aku tak nak kahwin sponsor lah.
Tapi aku faham. Aku faham. Aku mesti juga.
I'm at the mercy of
because you can like, you want to support these vendors, you see. So aku pun macam, kalau diorang kasih dah, aku macam okay, terima. Kalau tak, aku tak minta saya. Aku pasti.
Right.
Tak apa, aku mintakan.
No, better not lah. I'll see first lah. For now, I'm quite happy with what I have. Kalau ada kesempatan untuk lakukan hal tersebut, let me just work hard for it and see where this goes. Orang selalu cakap kalau kita ada hajat untuk nak bina masjid kan, Tuhan akan permudahkan urusan. Tapi juga bila kau nak go towards perkahwinan tu, oleh kerana kau nak membina masjid, syaitan juga akan cuba meruntuhkan.
Makin besar tu syaitan datang.
Syaitan akan cuba memporak-perandakan dan banyak gaduh.
Banyak, tapi okay lah. So nak cepat settle lah. Tapi family semua okay. Everything Alhamdulillah okay lah. Just waiting lah for the counting down the days.
Alright, all the best untuk kau dan juga ramai lagi yang mungkin menonton yang juga sedang finding food in life. Kita berehat seketika waktu untuk berbual pasal next big purchase juga, which is a house. Rumah pula bersama dengan teman-teman kami di Your Reno Works. Jangan ke mana-mana. Teman-teman kami yang ada dalam studio adalah daripada Your Reno Works. Mereka adalah kontraktor renovasi HDB yang sangat berpengalaman lebih daripada 10 tahun. Walaupun dah lebih 10 tahun dalam arena ni, muka diorang masih nampak muda lagi.
Yes, masih handsome.
Sebab diorang very happy. Selalu very happy, kortisol rendah. Dan customer pun happy. Sebab tu diorang nampak muda. 500 lebih projek yang telah pun mereka berjaya laksanakan. Sertai peluang untuk menang percutian percuma ke Umrah, Bali ataupun Bangkok. Untuk free consultation, hubungi WhatsApp mereka 83837879 83837879 ataupun Instagram @your_reno_works ataupun di TikTok @yourrenoworks. Kalau korang dah lupa apa aku cakap, anything to do with my upgrading, with my renovation, aku mau naikkan di Instagram dan juga TikTok aku @zarismail, dan aku collect tagkan dorang. Boleh saja klik and find out a bit more pasal the services that they are doing. Dan juga peringatan untuk semua yang sedang menyaksikan, they are also having their open house, which is on the 8 and 9 of November, 10 pagi sampai 10 malam. Dan kalau korang datang on their open house and korang confirm nak ambil renovation package bersama dengan mereka, you sign on the dotted line, you will get 10% off all quotation. Doesn't matter projek kau berharga berapa, you get 10% off all quotation kalau korang sign bersama dengan mereka pada November 8 dan juga 9 hari bulan November. And also look out for dorang punya live stream on TikTok sebab they're also giving like even more discounts. You can buy certain vouchers that they're going to sell and you're going to experience even more discounts on top of your 10% off all quotations. So all the best. A lot of the info kami dah buat naikkan di Instagram dan juga di TikTok. Boleh saja korang cross-reference, share with your partners, and see you on the 8th and 9th of November. Latif dan juga Hafiz dalam studio. We're talking about smart designs, especially dalam the new slew of flats yang government buat, and it's becoming smaller. What is happening? Why are our flats becoming smaller?
I think the land is getting
more expensive.
The land getting tighter.
And then flats are getting higher.
Oh, nowadays flats macam how tall
I think ada 40 story pun
ada juga lah. Certain areas lah.
Dosen
I think Dawson tu dah memang
dah lama
I think some Bukit Batu I think ada satu.
Correct
40 stories
40 around there. Betul, BTO.
Wow. And how big are these BTO as compared to maybe, okay, just cross reference macam I upload a lot macam aku cakap aku punya bedroom as a resale flat dah makin kecil, and that place pun kira dah 30 year old flat.
Correct.
And it's already small. So now it's even smaller ke macam mana?
Now it's crazy. I feel it's even smaller. So in terms of size kan, kalau you your preference is size, memang resale is the go-to lah.
Okay.
Tapi resale ni pun ada some tricky parts lah. If you see if you get a resale unit, ada yang living room dia besar.
Okay.
Tapi it will compensate to your rooms. Your rooms will become macam kecil-kecil lah, semua jadi compact. I think your house, we are experiencing the same one of that. So ada yang betul-betul living room tu kecil tapi bilik-bilik dia besar. So if you were to cross back check sekarang, all kita punya BTO ni kan, the punya size, the punya fixtures or the punya layout is almost the same. Almost similar. It's ada the mirror punya image, ketak and all those lah. So rumah-rumah BTO ni memang the sizes, I think down the years it will be like that. Pasal BTO ada sama juga ada akan get the same size lah.
Gini susah lah kita nak fight. Orang-orang Malaysia akan cakap shoebox.
Betul. Shoebox atau tin sardin lah orang cakap.
Betul lah.
Kita dah tak boleh fight.
Boleh lah, tapi duit nak kena banyak.
Okay. So how is it like? Does it present a challenge untuk korang buat renovation in this kind of spaces?
Correct. So kalau benda-benda macam rumah BTO ni, when you have your space is small, you want to do carpentry, of course you want to maximize. Kita nak kena space planning. Things like that we can do macam built-in punya benda-benda for the carpentry. We take a good example as well. Ada orang prefer macam boleh letak ironing board dalam carpentry.
Okay,
you open your wardrobe, the iron board can drop down, you can simpan barang and so this kind of space planning, not only the space in the facade or the area, is also dalam cabinet punya usage also is also very important as well.
So would that be dalam keadaan sedemikian the renovation cost increase sebab incorporate this smart designs ataupun still within manageable punya budgeting?
Correct. Kalau if okay, so there is a lot of ways to go around this. Anything you add mechanism into the carpentry, it will be add on, to be honest. So any mechanism add on, cost also will increase lah. So of course you have a smaller space, you need to spend a little bit more to maximize the area and the space. But in the long term, it benefits you lah.
But at the end of the day, space planning tu kita buat dulu tau. Kita plan the space planning first. So sometimes dia not only about the storage. Pasal rumah pun sekarang dah quite small. So macam fall ceiling, dia punya drop down of the fall ceiling pun jangan terlalu banyak fall ceiling. Then it will look even more compact. So all these things you need to plan first. Then a lot of people they tend to go to Pinterest. Pinterest cari ideas. So sometimes kita tengok kat Pinterest tu cantik. Tapi at the end of the day kita nak kena ikut kita punya lifestyle juga. Kita punya keperluan kat dalam rumah tu apa. Jangan ikut bulat-bulat dekat Pinterest.
What are some of the designs yang korang dah buat so far in terms of space saving? What is apa yang orang-orang sekarang like to do?
So things like macam cabinets, kita ada satu cabinet.
Ini cabinet kitchen.
So pintu dia boleh slide in into the pocket door. We call it pocket door lah. So from there kita boleh save a bit of space for walkway and everything.
So the doors don't swing out.
They swing out and then dia akan push in.
Dia swing out, dia push in. I see. So ada masanya kalau nak masak ke apa atau nak close for the day.
If it's messy ke untidy kan, you can actually hide. So another example I can give is macam wardrobe tu. So wardrobe ni kita pun got some mechanism. We need to space. Kan kita floor sampai ceiling tu quite high mah. So what we also did is kita do macam ada satu handle tu kita boleh tarik bawa turun. Then all your baju akan turun sekali.
Oh, okay.
So we maximize the space on the top. Usually on the top of the wardrobe tu kebanyakan orang letak luggage,
betul.
Yeah. So if luggage there is a space for you to put in your storeroom, that space also become wasted lah.
Yeah.
Tapi actually idea-idea gini banyak start dari Jepun
Betul. I think orang-orang yang rumah-rumah kecil ni yang tend to have a lot of this idea. Betul.
So macam I like to travel macam pergi Japan and all that, take different Airbnbs. Kadang-kadang dalam gambar nampak besar, but when you go it's small. The doors are small. So macam they have this issue juga, yang mana apartments there are really small, but they have managed to fit in a lot of different things. But their doors are much smaller. Habis sink diorang pun ada macam very cute, very small. Macam very weird.
Tokyo bersama.
And then the bed is really small, sui-sui. Habis kadang-kadang ada bathtub pun macam macam mana orang bathe kat sini but it fits sebab orang Jepun mungkin smaller in terms of size. So are we as a country going towards macam gitu ataupun actually far from that?
I hope not lah. Pasal itu rabak sih. Rabak. Nak jalan susah semua, everything dah susah sih. I hope not. Tapi I think whatever yang size yang I think kita dah ada sekarang for BTO kan, I think it is a livable space lah.
Okay.
The size is just nice lah.
Stay comfortable lah.
Masih comfortable lah.
To live in.
You won't go if getting smaller. I think teruk lah.
So this kind of discussions, diorang boleh datang dekat korang masa open house and have like a bouncing of ideas. How does it work on the open house? Macam mana?
Okay, so when during the open house tu, the first thing yang korang nak kena ada is the floor plan. Kalau tak ada, we can actually extract from HDB website.
Floor plan bukan blueprint.
Okay.
Alright, jangan bawa blueprint. Okay. Halau nanti.
So floor plan tu, okay, of course ideas also if you have. It is okay for you to have Pinterest ataupun TikTok punya videos if you see any inspiration. Boleh ada. Bawa aja. So we are here to tell you, is this doable ke tak? Masih boleh dapat ke tak? This kind of mechanism locally and not lah. Boleh ke tak? So this kind of ideas yang kita perlukan, so we can actually swing ideas, tell you mana boleh, mana tak boleh, which is doable or not lah. This kind of things you to share.
Fantastic. Dan di saat korang tengah dengar podcast ini, jangan lupa untuk hadirkan diri bagi bersama-sama dengan Latif dan juga dengan Hafiz dan ramai lagi sales assistant mereka akan berada di sana. No obligation, datang je beramai-ramai. 8 dan juga 9 hari bulan November, bawa lah siapa-siapa, your partners ataupun anak-anak, even your parents to come on board. Sebab kalau korang sign bersama dengan mereka masa open house Your Reno Works, korang akan dapat 10% off all quotations. Bukan itu saja, malahan peluang untuk menangi ke umrah Bali dan juga Bangkok. Ini antara 3 destinasi yang boleh korang menang secara percuma kalau korang bersama-sama dengan mereka membuat rumah idaman korang bersama dengan Your Reno Works. Jangan lupa, Your Reno Works, kontraktor renovasi HDB berpengalaman lebih 10 tahun dengan lebih 500 projek yang telah pun mereka jayakan. Untuk free consultation boleh WhatsApp mereka 83837879 ataupun datang ke open house 8 dan juga 9 hari bulan November, atau check out their Instagram. They are very active on their Instagram. Banyak upload berkenaan dengan material, dengan testimoni pelanggan, dengan different designs yang mereka dah lakukan. So have a look, because mereka bukan baru semalam buka, dah lebih 10 tahun. Instagram mereka adalah @your_reno_works ataupun di TikTok @yourrenoworks. Terima kasih Hafiz juga Latif. Jumpa korang pada minggu depan.